the most cursed explorations in human history. Throughout history, humanity's insatiable curiosity has driven us to explore the unknown corners of our world. But some expeditions seem to carry with them an otherworldly curse, leaving behind trails of mystery, tragedy, and unexplained phenomena that continue to baffle experts today. These are the stories of the most cursed explorations in human history. In 1845, Sir John Franklin led 129 men on two ships, the HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, in search of the Northwest Passage through the Arctic. What should have been a triumphant exploration became one of history's most haunting mysteries. The entire expedition vanished without a trace for over a decade. When search parties finally discovered evidence, the truth was far more horrifying than anyone imagined. The crews had become trapped in ice, slowly starving and freezing to death. But the most disturbing discovery was evidence of cannibalism among the desperate survivors. Inuit testimonies spoke of ghostly figures wandering the ice, and even today, locals report strange sightings near the wreckage sites. The ships themselves weren't found until 2014 and 2016, their icy graves holding secrets for over 170 years. In 1959, 9 experienced Soviet hikers embarked on what should have been a routine expedition through the Ural Mountains. Led by Igor Dyatlov, the group never returned home. When search teams found their campsite, they discovered a scene that defied explanation. The tent had been cut open from the inside, as if the hikers had fled in terror. Their bodies were found scattered across the mountainside, some nearly naked despite the freezing temperatures. Several showed signs of massive internal trauma without external wounds, as if crushed by an enormous force. One victim was missing her tongue and eyes. Radiation traces were found on their clothing, and witnesses reported strange orange lights in the sky that night. Soviet authorities classified the case, attributing the deaths to an unknown compelling force. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most puzzling and terrifying exploration mysteries ever recorded. Colonel Percy Fawcett was obsessed with finding a legendary lost city deep in the Amazon rainforest, which he called Z. This British explorer had already survived numerous dangerous expeditions, but his final journey in 1925 would prove fatal. Accompanied by his son Jack and Jack's friend Raleigh, Fawcett disappeared into the jungle, never to be seen again. Over the decades, more than 100 people have died or disappeared while searching for Fawcett and his lost city. The Amazon seemed to swallow anyone who dared follow in his footsteps. Tribal accounts spoke of white men being captured or killed, but their bodies were never found. Some claim Fawcett went native and lived among indigenous tribes, while others believe he was murdered by hostile natives or succumbed to disease. The curse of the lost city seemed to extend beyond Fawcett himself, claiming the lives of countless other explorers who became obsessed with solving the mystery. The Amazon had claimed its victims and guarded its secrets jealously. When Howard Carter opened King Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922, he unleashed what many believe was an ancient curse. Lord Carnarvon, Carter's financial backer, died mysteriously just 5 months after the tomb's opening, reportedly from an infected mosquito bite. At the moment of his death, all the lights in Cairo allegedly went out, and his dog howled and died at the exact same time back in England. This was only the beginning. Over the next decade, more than 20 people connected to the tomb's excavation died under mysterious circumstances. Some succumbed to strange illnesses, others to accidents, and some to apparent suicides. The curse seemed particularly drawn to those who had entered the burial chamber itself. While skeptics point to coincidence and the dangerous conditions of early 20th century Egypt, believers note the unusual pattern of deaths and the ancient warnings inscribed in hieroglyphs throughout the tomb. The curse of the pharaohs had awakened from its 3,000-year slumber. In 1587, 117 English colonists established a settlement on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. When supply ships returned 3 years later, they found the colony completely deserted. The only clue was the word Croatoan carved into a wooden post, referring to a nearby island. No trace of the colonists was ever found, despite extensive searches. The mystery deepened when later explorers reported strange phenomena around the island. Unexplained lights, ghostly voices calling out in the night, and the appearance of spectral figures dressed in period clothing wandering the shores. Some theories suggest the colonists integrated with local Native American tribes, while others propose they attempted to sail back to England and perished at sea. But the complete disappearance of over 100 people, including children, remains one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries. The lost colony of Roanoke had vanished as if swallowed by the earth itself. In 1872, the merchant brigantine Mary Celeste was discovered drifting unmanned in the Atlantic Ocean. The ship was seaworthy, her cargo intact, and there were no signs of violence or struggle. The crew's personal belongings, including valuables, remained untouched. Even the ship's cat was still aboard, but all 10 people who had been sailing her had vanished without explanation. The ship's lifeboat was missing, suggesting the crew had abandoned ship. But why? The cargo of denatured alcohol was largely intact. The ship's hull was sound, and there was months' worth of food and fresh water aboard. No distress signal had been sent, and no bodies were ever recovered. Theories range from piracy to natural disasters, from mutiny to sea monsters. But the Mary Celeste's curse seemed to extend to those who tried to solve her mystery. Several people involved in the salvage proceedings died under suspicious circumstances, and the ship herself met a mysterious end, eventually being deliberately wrecked under questionable circumstances. These cursed explorations remind us that human curiosity, while driving our greatest discoveries, can also lead us into realms where conventional explanation fails. Whether these expeditions fell victim to natural disasters, human error, or something more supernatural, their stories continue to captivate and terrify us. Perhaps the real curse of these explorations is not supernatural at all, but rather the irresistible human compulsion to seek answers in places where answers may not exist, to explore territories that were meant to remain hidden, and to disturb forces that were better left undisturbed. These tales serve as both inspiration and warning. The unknown calls to us, but sometimes the unknown calls back.